Hello and good afternoon to machinist members and allies in the labor movement. This is the 141 report, and I'm your host, Dave Lehigh, a communications representative for District Lodge 141. Indianapolis is our destination today as we Zoom for a conversation with Sister Kelly Queen Hughes, who is the Secretary Treasurer of Local Lodge 511. Before we start, we want to remind our viewers to please like our 141 Facebook social media page, follow our Twitter page, and subscribe to our YouTube page. The membership wants communications, and you can help our union network grow by doing your part. Remember also to visit our im141.org website and sign up for our weekly emails and bulletins. It's time to get started, so join us as our 141 report starts now. Sister, thank you for accepting the invite to come on the 141 report and talk about your local.
Thanks, Dave.
Oh, it's great seeing you. Hey, can you please tell the viewers about yourself, your history with the airlines that you've worked for, the positions you've held with the Machinists Union?
Yes. I started United in February 2000. I worked through 9/11. I had to leave due to pay cuts and things like that. So I went on to do something else, and I came back to United in Indianapolis in March of 2007. Shortly after that, we were furloughed. I took furlough to the street for about 7 months, and then I transferred to St. Louis, who had closed originally and reopened. So me and a group of ladies, we transferred into St. Louis, where I was for 5 years. After complaining a few times about the work conditions, Scotty Meissner, he recruited me as a shop steward and then later as a trustee of the local lodge 941. Scott became my mentor at that time. And then when he left, he had to go do contract negotiations. So that kind of left me as the acting committee for St. Louis. And I did that until Scott came back. Then in 2015, again, after 5 years, I was recalled back to Indianapolis. Soon after arrival back into Indy, after a special election, I was voted in as the committee chairperson. And in the same year, I was appointed secretary treasurer of the local lodge 511, where I'm currently serving both positions.
Yeah. So Scotty Meissner, what a great role model. Scotty, I've known him for years. He does a great job. I think he just recently retired too, if I'm not mistaken.
He did.
Yeah. So sister, why did you get involved and want to help the union? And why is being a union member so important to you?
It's important to me because I'm all about rights, human rights. And so many times I've seen people who are maybe not as outspoken, don't want to rock the boat. They just let things get done. Management does this, management does that. And I start hearing about different things, and I'm big on safety in the workplace and outside of the workplace. So I felt like I needed to do something about it. That's the only way we can bring about change, is to get involved. So I started in it in St. Louis, and I didn't expect to do it for a long time, but that's probably everybody's story. But here I am still, 10, 12 years later, still fighting for employee rights.
Oh, that's great. Hey, so let's talk now a little bit about your local in Indianapolis. And how big is the local?
Right now, we have about 241 members, active members
Okay.
in our local.
And what airlines are in your local, and who does your membership consist of?
Okay, so the airlines right now that's in the local is United being the biggest one, Southwest, and Alaska Airline.
Okay. All right. And, go ahead.
Also, we have Amtrak and CSX.
That was going to be my next question to you. It's an amalgamated local. So you have two different districts that are in there. Actually, three different districts. You have District 141, 142, and District 19, right?
Yes.
So can you fill our members in about how you work, with a railroad local and with airline workers? How does that work?
Okay, so let me just give you a little history about that. So originally we were local 2941. I believe that was the local. And that consisted of American or US Air, it was US Air, Southwest, and United. Once US Air outsourced and then United outsourced, that's when they disassembled 2941. And so we were put together with Local Lodge 511, which was District 19.
Okay.
So they had been operating for, I guess, about 5 years before I came along into the local.
Okay. So what's it like? What's it like working when you have a union meeting? Is it different, would you say? Because you've come from an all airline local, and now you're mixed in with railroad people. Is it similar? Is it different? Are there different discussions, or do you find that grievances and issues are similar to your day-to-day life compared to a day-to-day life of a railroad worker?
Dave, it's different. It's very different. We have different work rules as far as the contract is concerned. So it's different. District 19, they bring their district business to the local.
Okay.
So when they have issues or when it's time to contract negotiate or different things like that, it's very different because they handle it at the regular business meeting.
Okay. All right. You give at the local lodge meetings, you give like reports about what's going on at your work site. Do they do the same thing for their work sites? Do they have somebody get up at the monthly meeting and just give a report about, this is what's happening at our specific railroad, like what we would do at an airline, something like that?
Yes. Each committee person gives a report at every business meeting.
Okay, very good. So where is your local located?
Our local is located inside of the VFW in Beech Grove, Indiana, which is across the street from Amtrak.
Okay, so how far is that from the airport?
It's about a 20-minute drive.
Okay, all right. And when you all get together and have your monthly EBoard meetings, who's on your EBoard?
It's Robert Griggs. He's the president. He's Amtrak.
Okay.
Danny Agadello. He's United. He's the VP.
Okay.
Ray Moran. He's United. He's recording secretary. We have John Miller and Jose Rivera. They are both Amtrak trustees. And then Mark Bryant is Amtrak conductor sentinel.
Oh, so you have a bit of diversification there on your board. That's good. So when you need district help for your 141, who do you reach out to as your assistant general chair?
Richie Robinson. He is my AGC. I reach out to him when I have issues.
Okay. And who's your, when you want to go farther up, who's your Grand Lodge rep?
Well, pre-COVID, it was Sandy Gardner. Since then, it's Gil Simmons.
Oh, Gil's from my home local, 1776. He's a good guy.
Okay,
Yeah.
I've met him at conventions, but since COVID, it's been challenging.
Yes, I know. But the pandemic, we're finally at that point where now everybody's starting to get vaccinated, which is a good thing, and I'll talk about that a little later on. So, can you tell me about some of the people on your committee that you work with at the local?
Okay, so we don't have any committees right now. We're very small. We have a very small quorum.
Okay.
But Jeff Zapp is the Amtrak committee chair. Will Cotter is the CSX chair. And Ray Moran is the United Ramp committee.
Okay, and you're a CS committee?
I'm committee chair and CS committee, yes.
Okay, so let me ask you, is it a 3-member committee, or is it a single committee for your size local? What's the makeup of each committee? Is it just one committee chair, which is a committee person?
Yes. So CSX and Amtrak only have a committee chairperson.
Okay, all right. And then what about at United? It's a 2-person committee then? It's the CS and the ramp, and then one's the chair?
Right.
Okay.
Right.
All right. Okay.
So I'm one and the same for customer service.
Right. That's what I was just trying to get to. I want to clarify. Some stations have, some locals are larger and they'll have several people on a committee for each department. So I just wanted to get a clarification for our viewers. Okay. So you're on the Grievance Committee, and can you tell me why you believe this is one of the most important committees?
Yes. Grievances, they are, a way of executing your rights, letting management know, hey, you're doing this wrong, you need to correct it. I'm mainly with Ray, the Grievance Committee, Ray Moran. But I kind of pride our station, our committee, as we don't have a lot of grievances because we can handle them before they get to that point. And really that is the goal for me, is to handle it, pull management's coattail and say, hey, this isn't right, do the right thing, or we can go to the next step.
Yeah.
And usually, once I quote a few articles, in the contract and outline them, then it goes fine. But it's our right. It's our legal system within the job to hold management accountable for their actions.
Okay. I talked to Charlie DeFrancesco out of local 1044 a couple of weeks ago, and he stated the same thing, that because you're in a smaller station, sometimes it's easier to be able to work with management. And that's one of the great parts of having a good relationship with management, that you're able to discuss these issues before they get blown up. And then you go through the whole process of a grievance and whatnot. So that's great. That's good news to hear. Uh, what's the most important thing you value as being a union member?
Uh, I guess I could say, I value, gaining knowledge. I studied legal. I have a degree in paralegal studies, and I worked 6 months for an attorney and then went to work for United. So I've always been fascinated with the legal system. And union, it's a legal system. It's a legal system to hold management accountable. And I feel like as a person that I have the legal background, I can research, I read the contract, contrary to a lot of people. I am the walk-in contract in Indianapolis. Everybody calls me instead of just going and looking it up. But I feel like I want to make a difference. I want to make a difference, and I want things to be right. I believe in what's right is right and what's wrong is wrong. So I want everything to be right. And unless I participate, then I can't complain.
Okay. All right. So we're getting ready to kind of start wrapping up this report. Are there any closing thoughts or anything that you might want to make mention of before we finish up today's session?
Yeah, I don't have a whole lot to say, but I know we're going into contract negotiations soon once everything kind of clears up, which it's starting to do now. And I'd like to hear about that. I'd like to sit down and talk, and I'm looking forward to Richie. He's coming in. He's going to start back visiting, which I'm looking forward to that. But I really don't. I'd like to thank everyone in IAM that has helped me flourish as a union member, as a union officer, as a union leader. I don't want to name names because I don't want to forget anybody, but they know who they are. And I appreciate everything that they've done for me. You've even came and visited Indy, and I appreciate that. We had a good visit. So I just want to keep growing in the union and just keep fighting for our rights and let management know we're here, we're not going anywhere, and we're going to fight tooth and nail to the end.
So thanks, sister, for your report. It was good having you on today's show.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate it.
So this finishes this week's 141 report. And as we move closer to winning this pandemic battle, many of us has taken the fight directly to COVID-19 by getting a vaccine. I myself this week got my first shot of Moderna and will get my second shot in a few weeks. The quicker we can all work together, we can defeat this virus. Thank you all for doing your part by continuing to wear your mask and socially distancing yourself when you can. Everyone stay safe and have a great weekend. Bye for now.